Hi everyone, welcome to Storytime with Fairfield County Library. My name is Miss Nina and I am so excited for Storytime today. It's summer reading, so we're doing hybrid Storytimes, which means that we have Storytimes on here and in person at the library at the same time. So if you come to the library at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays, you can see me reading the books that you would also see me reading on the video. Okay, now that that's out of the way, are you guys ready for story time? This week, our theme is pirates. That means this week we are going to read about adventures on the high seas. All right, our first book is The Pirate Queens by Jane Yolen, illustrated by David Shannon, and published by Harcourt Brace and Company. Port Maria, 1720. The autumn seas are deep and dark in Port Maria Bay. The tiny fish all leap and sport around the bustling quay. What news, what news, the people cry. What news bring you to town? The governor has sent his ships to pull the pirates down. The governor has sent his ships with cannons all a-bristle, and on the silver sea they sail just like a stinging thistle. And silver the coins, and silver the moon, silver the waves on the top of the sea, when the pirate ship comes sailing in, that gallant Vanity. Now one small sloop that flew the black was Rackham's Vanity, and it was manned by 12 brave lads upon the roiling sea. When it was far and far from shore, those 12 brave lads were 10, for only on the sloop was known that 2 of them weren't men. Though only on the sloop was known that one was Bonnie Ann, and one was Mary Read, who dressed exactly like a man. What news, the people cry, what news bring you to town? Barnet has sailed his man-o'-war to pull the pirates down. Barnet has sailed the Albion upon the autumn sea to capture Rackham, Calico Jack, and the gallant Vanity. He slipped the western point of land all on that autumn day, and there the pirates lay in wait for their accustomed prey. And silver the coins, and silver the moon, silver the waves on the top of the sea, when the pirate ship comes sailing in, that gallant Vanity. The autumn seas were deep and dark near Point Negril that day. 2 pirates stood upon the deck, the rest below did play. The rest below did drink and sport, while up above the 2 kept silently their daily watch for Vanity and crew. A ship, did Mary cry, and Anne cried, man-o'-war! But down below Jack and his men did drink and sport some more. And silver the coins, and silver the moon, silver the waves on the top of the sea, when the pirate ship comes sailing in, that gallant Vanity. A ship, did Mary cry, come up and lend a hand! But Rackham and his merry men came not to her command. a ship!" Then Anne cried too, "Or else we will be taken." But Rackham and his merry men their duties had forsaken. So shoulder to shoulder and back to back stood Mary and stood Anne. Never was it said that they were feared of any man. Then one and two and through Barnet's men piled their blades, until they overpowered both those doughty pirate maids, until Barnet had overcome and brought them both to shore, aboard the mighty Albion, that bristly man-o'-war. What news, the people cry, what news bring you to town? The Vanity is captured, and 2 pirate queens brought down. And silver the coins and silver the moon, silver the waves on the top of the sea, when the pirate ship comes sailing in, that gallant Vanity. The winter seas were dark and cold around Jamaica Isle, when Anne Bonny and Mary Read were readied for their trial. They marched along a prison walk, they passed Jack's cell block by, called Anne, "If you'd fought like a man, my Jack, you need not die. If you had fought right by my side, this day we'd both be free, a-sailin' in the open air, all on the silver sea." The pirate queens before the judge each pleaded for her life. "I am about to have a child, I am a pirate's wife." "Oh, you may be a pirate's wife, or by a man beguiled, but never would I hang a maid and kill the sinless child." So Calico Jack and all his crew hanged on the gallows tree, but Bonnie Anne and Mary Read were by the judge set free. And silver coins and silver the moon, silver the waves on the top of the sea, when the pirate ship comes sailing in, that gallant Vanity. And they say still on autumn nights in Port Maria Bay, where tunny fish all leap and sport around the bustling quay, a ghostly ship sails to and fro above the silver waves. Then Jack and all his coward crew rise anxious from their graves, to sail the endless ocean round. No, never rest get they, but Anne and Mary's children's children round their households play. And silver the coins and silver the moon, silver the waves on the top of the sea, when the ghostly ship comes sailing in, that gallant Vanity. And then we have an author's note that gives some more information on Anne Bonny and Mary Read. All right, that was the Pirate Queens. What'd you guys think? Who's your favorite pirate? Okay, our next book is How I Became a Pirate by Melinda Long, illustrated by David Shannon, and published by Harcourt Inc. Pirates have green teeth when they have any teeth at all. I know about pirates because one day when I was at the beach building a sandcastle and minding my own business, a pirate ship sailed into view. I knew that it was because its flag had a skull and crossbones on it, and because I could hear the pirates singing, "Hey ho, blow the man down." They were a little off-key. I tried to tell Dad, but he was busy setting up the beach umbrella. I tried to tell Mom, but she was busy slathering my baby sister with sunblock. So I went back to my sandcastle, but I kept an eye on the pirates. By then, they were rowing to shore. When they landed, the head pirate climbed out of the boat and yelled, "Ahoy thar, matey! Be this the Spanish Main?" "No," I said, "this is North Beach." "Shiver me timbers," the pirate said. "We must have taken a wrong turn at Bora Bora." He walked around my sand castle. He looked at the moat, then yelled back to his crew, "He's a digger, he is, and a good one to boot." "A good one to boot," the others agreed. "What be your name, matey?" the head pirate asked. "Jeremy Jacobs, sir," I told him. "Well, Jeremy Jacob," he said, "you're looking at Braidbeard and his crew. We've been needing a digger like yourself. We've a chest of treasure to bury." "Aye, treasure," the others shouted. "You're coming with us," Braidbeard told me. I didn't think Mom and Dad would mind as long as I got back in time for soccer practice the next day. That's how I became a pirate. As soon as we were on board, Braidbeard showed me the chest of gold and jewels. "Go to find a safe place for this here treasure. It's high time we were off," he announced. "We're off!" we all shouted, and then we set sail. There was plenty to do on board. The pirates taught me to sing sea chanties, the louder the better, and to say real pirate stuff like landlubber and scurvy dog. By dinner time, I could speak pirate perfectly. I also learned pirate manners. Braidbeard pounded his fist on the table and yelled, "Down the hatch, me laddies! Down the hatch!" we all shouted. Braidbeard gulped his food and said, "Hand over the meat!" "The meat!" we all roared. Nobody told us to finish our spinach, there wasn't any, or to chew up our carrots, they weren't allowed whole. We talked with our mouths full, and nobody said please or thank you. After dinner, I tried to teach the pirates to play soccer. Braidbeard kicked the ball and yelled, "Arr, soccer! Arr, soccer!" the crew yelled. Then everybody dove for the ball at once, and it rolled right off the deck. "After it, me hearties," Braidbeard commanded. "After it!" we all whispered. We fought over who would go to get the ball, but we didn't matter anyway, because a shark came along and swallowed it in one gulp. So much for soccer. By now, it was past my bedtime, but nobody tells pirates to go to bed, to take a bath, or to brush their teeth. Maybe that's why their teeth are green. Pirates sleep with one eye open, just in case, and they don't change into pajamas unless they want to. Pirates don't do anything they don't want to, except for maybe swabbing the decks. I wanted to be a pirate forever. But then I found out what else they didn't do. When I couldn't stay awake any longer, I asked Braidbeard to tuck me in and read me a story. "Tuck you in," he bellowed. "Pirates don't tuck." "No tucking," the crew cried. And the only thing they had to read was a map. "Don't you have any books?" I asked. Braidbeard looked confused. "Books?" I didn't even bother to ask about a goodnight kiss. It wasn't easy to fall asleep without a story, but I was finally dozing off when a storm broke. Thunder boomed and lightning flashed. I tried to hide under the covers as waves slammed up against the ship, but I kept falling out of my hammock. I couldn't find anyone in the cabin. They were all on deck. "Lower the sails," Braidbeard shouted. "Batten down the hatches." Everyone ran around yelling and lowering and battening. Nobody had time to sit close and tell me it would be over soon. Nobody even noticed me. I decided that I didn't want to be a pirate after all. Just then, flash, crash, crack! Lightning hit the mast and split it right down the middle. "What do we do now?" yelled one of the pirates. "We'll have to turn back," cried another. "But the treasure," hollowed Braidbeard. "Where will we bury the treasure?" I stepped forward. "Maybe I can help," I shouted over the wind. "I think I know the perfect digging spot." When the storm was over, we rowed back to shore and buried the chest. We drew a map so we could find the treasure again, but I don't think I'll need it. After that, the pirates repaired the ship and got ready to set sail. Before they left, Braidbeard handed me a flag and said, "You make a fine pirate, Jeremy Jacob. Guard that treasure well. We'll be back to get it soon." "Soon enough," the crew repeated. "And if you ever need us," Braidbeard added, "just run the Jolly Roger up yonder pole." "Up yonder pole," the others shouted. And maybe I will, but not today. I have soccer practice. Okay, that was How I Became a Pirate. What do you guys think? If you could bury buried treasure, where would you bury it? All right, everyone. Thank you for coming to story time. Now, just because we're done reading does not mean we have to be done with story time. If you come down to the library this week, you can pick up a story time kit, which are these fun-filled activity kits that we made to go with the books you read today. Each kit comes with a coloring sheet, a craft, and a tasty recipe that you can make with your grown-ups. This week, our craft is a porthole window. Look, the water moves. To get a kit, you need to come to the Fairfield County Library and look for some crates in the children's section. Now we have 2 crates, one for Monday story time and one for Wednesday. So you want to make sure to grab the right kit, or you could end up with something completely different than what I just showed you. The kits for this story time are in the group B crate. They are the blue ones. New kits come out whenever there's a new story time, but we might have some left from last week if you ask. It never hurts to ask. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining me for story time. Once again, my name is Miss Nina, and I hope to see you in the library this week to pick up a kit. It's time to say goodbye, but I look forward to seeing you all next time. Bye!